conceptualizing it into a TV series?
Totally smooth and very easy. No, no. I mean, it was interesting. Like when they asked me about doing it, I was like, sure, of course. Like, you're not going to be like, no, I don't want to do True Lies. But then I was like, wait a second, this is a 2.5 hour movie? Like 2.5 hours? All right. So yeah, it was really kind of looking at the movie and thinking, okay, what are the elements of this that will carry on in a TV show? Like, what are the elements that you would see week to week, and really focusing mostly on those, right? So, for example, in the movie, it's great the way the sort of like Helen's in love with falling for a salesman who is claiming to be a spy and stuff like that. Like, that's super funny. You're not going to do that every week. Like, you can't do that every week. So it's sort of like, okay, let's focus on it's a husband and wife, and she doesn't know. And then the other thing was, the big thing for me was thinking about why is Helen's character so ready for this world? Because in the movie, of course, by the end, you get the sense that she's now a spy a year later, right? But what is she bringing to that, right? Like, why is she good at it? They don't really have to answer the question in True Lies, right? In the movie, it's just sort of like, yeah, what's she good at? Well, in the movie, I guess picking up phones, like that's all she does at the end. But in the show, it was much more important to be like, okay, when she does this, it's going to turn out. She's an athlete. She's very good at fighting. She can drive fast. She, she's a linguist. She speaks all these languages. She will be very valuable to the spy agency at the point where she becomes a spy. That also led to another big part of the show that was less a part of the movie, which was this idea that, yeah, she was this person. So when she met Harry, she instinctively had that reaction, like, yeah, we're peas in a pod. Like, we belong together. Like, you're an exciting dude, and I'm an exciting person, and like, we're similar. Only to realize over the course of 17 years that somehow she was wrong, that he's just a salesman, that this is... And so that idea that Helen was right, but she thought she was wrong, and then realizes by the end of the show, by the end of the pilot, oh yes, I was right all along. Yeah, he's sort of a jerk for lying to me for 17 years, but it's reassuring in the sense that we do belong together after all, and so that becomes the foundation for things going forward.
One of the changes that I picked up about the series versus the movie was that you don't wait to get Helen into the journey, like the action. What went into that decision to not make us wait for that and just to kind of open the show with the two of them on a mission together?
To open the show, to do it in episode one, as opposed to to be honest, it was a big debate, and you can agree with this or not. Like this was my take on it.
Go ahead.
I really explored what would it have meant to keep Helen in the dark for multiple episodes, and there were people that really wanted to do that. Right. My issue was. It's fine to see Harry lie to his wife once, right? But if we're in the third episode and they're in another car chase, right? And she's going, why are we being chased? And Harry's saying, I don't know, it's the cops, you know what I mean, or whatever. Again, the other concern I had was, if it's going to be exciting, she has to be in physical danger. And if she's and when I think about like my wife, my family, if my wife's in physical danger and I'm more concerned with keeping her in the dark than I am with saving her life, I'm a dick. Like, you can't do that, right? And so even though there was some, I acknowledge there was some comedic potential to keeping her in the dark for longer, I felt like it was going to hurt Harry's character a lot. My other big concern, though, was that's a different show. The Helen's in the Dark show. And at some point, Helen's going to find out. And whatever episode she finds out, the next episode is a whole new show. And so I also said to them, when we were talking about it, I was like, yeah, okay, what if we reveal it in the 6th episode, and everybody loved the Helen's in the Dark show, and now we're doing a different show called Helen Knows, right? What if they hate the Helen's in the Dark show, and we're like, just hang on to episode 7 because it's turning into a different show, call it Helen Knows. I was like, let me just do the one show. It'll succeed or fail. If it fails, you can find somebody else and you can do the Helen's in the Dark show, and maybe there's another way to do it.
Yeah. Good answer, great answer.
How do you balance that with the kids? Because it's kids in the dark.
Yeah.
And is that going to stick around forever? What's going to happen if that changes?
Well, isn't that an interesting question? I mean, let me put it this way. Through the first few episodes, they're very cavalier about, like, I won an award! We're going off to this conference, whatever, right? Eventually, you'll see this next episode is an episode where, the kids are involved and they realize, like, oh, wow, keeping the secret from the kids is, like, ugh, this is going to be hard, right? And then, as the season goes on, at a certain point, the kids are going to be like, you guys are gone a lot.
Yeah.
And it starts causing problems in the family that would be caused if suddenly the parents were, like, gone all the time and the kids were stuck home microwaving dinner again and that kind of thing. And so it's obviously a thing. We just decided to play it, like two parents who think it's a good idea to keep their kids in the dark, and and it's going to turn out to be maybe not such a good idea, if that makes sense.
Was it challenging to take all these kind of really mundane situations that a couple goes through, like keeping things from each other, communication, and interweaving them with action sequences or missions that kind of explore those themes?
I say this in the strongest possible terms. It is unbelievably difficult. Because the thing that we ran into as you're breaking the stories is, like, a lot of shows you watch, they've got like an A story and a B story, where it's like, okay, we're doing the A story and that's like the crime of the week or whatever, and then there's a B story where we talk about our feelings or we talk about, like, whatever's going on. The problem in True Lies, if you think about the movie, there's not like a mission and then they stop and talk about their marriage and then they go back to the mission. The mission is the marriage, is the mission is the marriage. Like, it's the same thing. And so, and we played with the idea of, like, okay, well, we'll do something where, like, they talk about work-life issues and then there's also a mission or what. The problem is, you don't want to see that. Like, they're trying to stop a bomb from blowing up Berlin, right? Stop talking about your stupid relationship issue. Like, stop the bomb, and then you can talk about your relationship issue. 1 million people are going to die if you don't get on the stick right now, right? And so the task became really finding episodes where accomplishing the mission demanded that they had to deal with their relationship issue, or they had to deal with friendship, or they had to deal with, whatever it is. So, like, the episode with Matt Lillard, the 4th episode, was, started with the idea of, like, okay, what if Helen had a work husband, right? Okay, so what if her work husband was a psychopath assassin who they needed to accomplish this goal, right? Okay, well, now you have to deal with all of the issues of being jealous of your wife's work husband in order to accomplish the goal, right? As opposed to those being two separate things. So, but it was super hard. Like, I can't tell you how many stories we ended up killing because it would be like, someone would come in and they'd be like, I've got this great episode, it's about a nuclear bomb on a train, and then there's a thing that happens, and it's like, okay, cool, but what's the, like, thing that they're doing? I don't know. Okay, well, I guess we're not doing that episode. Or somebody else would come along and be like, okay, I've got this great episode, it's like, Harry and Helen are having communication issues, and then maybe the radios are out, so there's communication issues. Okay, but, like, how are they talking if the radios are out? Okay, forget it. We won't do that one either. So
you've outside of this IP. You've worked on the Turner and Hooch remake or TV series. Is there any other like '90s film or '80s film that you think you would want to work on that could work as a television series?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny though. Like, I don't know. I always wanted to do Aliens or Alien, but like Noah Hawley's got an Emmy, so oh well. Yeah. So I mean, I think there's always stuff. It's really like kind of what's the opportunity? Like, what are you allowed to do with it? You know, I mean. You'll see how this is an answer to your question, even though it's not a direct answer to your question. Like, when I did The Gifted for Fox,
Loved it.
I love doing that show. It was super exciting. But I will say, I couldn't really talk about this then, but I will say now, like, so imagine someone coming to you and being like, hey, do you want to do the X-Men show? And you're like, yes, I do. And they're like, okay. You can never say the word Magneto. Okay, but Charles Xavier, never ever. Okay, but like, can someone say like, what about Wolverine? Shut up, right?
Wow.
Okay, wait a second. So I can't even say their names, but like, you let me have Polaris, who's Magneto's daughter,
yep.
on the show. She can't say her own father's name? No. Why did you let me have her? We didn't know that she was Magneto's daughter. Like, okay. Okay then. So I guess like the X-Men are all gone, and can I say the word X-Men? Yes, but not a lot. I'm like, okay. So it totally becomes this like be careful what you wish for thing.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I mean, The Gifted was really like, The Gifted was for WonderCon or for Comic-Con. Like, why? Because they were the people that knew the characters we were using. It's like, yeah, you know, who knows who Thunderbird was? Like, well, if you watched Days of Future Past pretty closely, then you saw Warpath, and he's Thunderbird's brother. Like,
They do look alike.
yeah, they do look like, yeah, it's true. But nobody's like, oh man, that TV show's coming out that has the brother of the guy that had like 4 lines in that one movie I really liked. You know what I mean? It's just a tough, you know, and so we're doing the deep cuts of like the Morlocks and stuff like that. And it's like, you know, so put the Morlocks in a TV show, that's going to bring in like, you know, 50,000 viewers, which is really exciting for me. Yeah. But like, you know, Fox is like, 50,000 viewers. I'm like, just let me say Magneto. Please let me say Magneto.
Right.
You get the idea.
That puts things into
We need to
perspective.
go ahead and wrap. If there's one quick question, you can get it. We'll need to move to the next room.
What's been the most fun episode you guys shot for the series?
For me, I directed the last episode, and I'd say, I don't know if the actors would agree with this. For me, but I suspect it was a very difficult season just because we're shooting these things in 7 days, which is an absurdly short amount of time for this. So everybody had a break over Christmas and New Year's, and they came back, and everyone was like, we only have 7 more days? Hooray! And so, and then somebody got COVID, and we had 1 more day, but it was super fun. And so, yeah, that was the big question for if we get another season is like, how do I get the actors enough time to rest so they don't hate me? So, there you go. Thank you.